to the Mac and Chuck Show with your co-hosts, Chuck Hill and Scott McKenzie. Tonight's show is all about movies.
You are looking live from Chuck's garage and my living room. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
How
are you? May the 4th be with you.
You know, as a Catholic, I just want to come back in also with you.
And with you.
It's just ingrained in me that when someone says be with you, it's like an unconscious, and also with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is it? Is the Catholic one peace be with you or something like that? Is that the Catholic?
Hang on. Let me go through my diatribe. Somewhere along those lines. Different churches have different wording of it, but it's essentially the same thing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I want to start the show off tonight. First of all, thanking our sponsors for May. That would be Don Chencho Mexican Restaurant here in Granite City, located at 3439 Namioki Road in beautiful Granite City, Illinois.
This one here, right above my head.
That right there above your head. Yep, I think people can see it.
My head's not that big, Hill.
Oh, my.
So the goings on this week over at Don Chencho, actually, hey, today is May the 4th be with you, and what's tomorrow?
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayonnaise.
Cinco de Mayo.
The 5th of mayonnaise.
Is it Cinco de Miracle Whip or Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Hellmann's.
Cinco de Hellmann's. Okay, awesome. So anyway, they're going to be open tomorrow all day until 11 p.m. DJ tomorrow also starts about 2 o'clock and keeps the fiesta going till 11 p.m.
Look at you using the proper words.
I know, fiesta, right? Not only that, but if you don't catch them on tomorrow, come out on Friday nights for karaoke night. It's always a blast. Then you'll always catch yours truly. And also, I think Cherry Bomb makes an appearance there every once in a while.
Sometimes.
And you know what? There may be someone on the other side of this camera making a special appearance towards the end of the month, maybe somewhere around Memorial Day weekend. So stay tuned, true believers.
Nice. Awesome. So yeah, give them a call, 618-709-7300, right there above Mac's head. And just want to thank them for sponsoring us throughout the month of May, and they're the ones making this happen. So you can either thank them or blame them, either one, you know.
Thank them or blame them. Hey, and if you go to Chencho's, let them know you saw him here on the Mac and Chuck Show.
Let them know Mac and Chuck sent you.
Or just Chuck.
No, you're part of the show too.
Well, yeah, but I'm in a different town, so.
That's true.
It would mostly be you. I'll defer to you for your better judgment and your advertising expertise.
Awesome. So some of you might know I'm kind of got a little bit more of a smooth face this week.
And what'd you say earlier? A little bit more of what? Smooth face and a little bit more of what?
I believe it was jowls.
Oh, jowls, yeah. Chuck's rocking jowls tonight. But that's okay.
And what did I say? At our age,
it's to be expected. It's to be expected, I guess, for sure. So how's your week been, Mac? Anything good happening on the Mac front?
You know what? All quiet, all good.
All quiet and all good. How about you, Cherry? How are things going for you?
I'm going to not make any comments.
Been that great, huh?
That sounds promising.
I'm not terribly.
I would love to hear that later.
Yeah, I'm not terribly thrilled with my workplace situation currently, but it's all right. Pays the bills.
That sounds awful redundant.
Well,
not very thrilled with the workplace.
Who is?
Normally, I enjoy my job, but I'd have to say the past week, not so much.
You know,
challenging.
Yeah,
I actually enjoy my job. I mean, anyone's job can be frustrating at times, but ultimately, I'm pretty happy with where I work at. So I'm kind of hoping they decide to keep me around for a little bit. That'll be nice.
And you know what all comes down to is the people you work with and the management staff that you have and the management team that you have.
Yeah, management is huge.
Or ownership.
Therein lies my problem.
Hasn't that been your issue for a while, Cherry?
Well, it was, but then it went away and it's resurfacing. So
it's reared its ugly head, has it?
Yeah, whatever. I'll just take a vacation and get over it.
So, random thought for the week. I actually have one this week.
Go for
it. And it's kind of funny because my random thought kind of ties into my random thought. Bear with me on this.
Wait. I want to make sure I heard that right. Your random thought ties in with your random thought.
With my random thought. How random is that?
Carry the one. Okay, I gotta add this up. Go for it. I just gotta add it up.
So I was just kind of thinking about the random thoughts and things like that, and it always seems that you bring these light, fun, kind of humorous thoughts, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how come I don't do that? Every time I bring a random thought in, it's always something kind of deep, philanthropic, or not philanthropic, philosophical. Is that the word? Yeah, philosophical.
By Jack Handy.
By Chuck Gilly. Yeah, So, and then I got to thinking, with that random thought comes, well, why do we second guess who we are as people? Like, we're always comparing ourselves to other people and things like that, and what they bring to the table, when we actually don't focus more on what we bring to the table, and that we would probably, as a people, be happier if we just kind of embraced who we are, and then also just kind of accepted people for who they are and didn't push them into being something that, they really don't want to be.
As I said before, carry the 1, 2, 3.
So you see what I mean now?
You had like an enigma wrapped in a question in a riddle there.
So yeah. Anyway, see how my random thought kind of tied into my random thought.
Your random thought just went on a trip and didn't come back. Yeah.
This isn't 420. This is
your random thought went to the East Side Dispensary. That's where your random thought went.
So Lisa says that again sounds pretty philosophical.
Awesome.
Be excellent.
Oh, here we go.
No.
We are not in San Dimas.
We are not in San Dimas. So, however, we're talking about movies today, and quotes from movies that kind of changed our lives. And
do I have the segues or do I have the segues?
You have the segues.
And not the motorized vehicle on 2 wheels either.
So, by the way, speaking of, may the Fourth be with you. Dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
I had a lightsaber downstairs, but apparently I left the batteries in it too long, and the connectors kind of.
What was it?
I had a lightsabers. Took 6 batteries, so I left it downstairs so the kids wouldn't get it. Forgotten about it over a few years, and the batteries have kind of seemed to corrode.
I'm gonna say yeah, it happens to me a lot also.
Oh, here we go with the jokes. Here we go.
How did you not expect that to show up?
Here we go. Well,
how did you not, with our viewership, how do you not expect that to show up?
Well, especially with this specific person. Could it be said?
So, talking about,
I'm done. I am done.
Oh my.
Lisa just won the internets for the night. I'm done.
I'm pretty sure it's broken. Not the lightsaber, the internet.
Well, it could be both.
Could be.
And what a way to start a show with people liking lightsabers downstairs.
I guess.
Anywho.
I guess. So, today being, may the Fourth be with you, obviously a Star Wars based day. Star Wars was kind of one of the movies that really just kind of changed special effects for movies, just kind of all around. And it's one of those movies that kind of came out, I think 77? Is that when the initial Star Wars came out?
Yep.
And, I remember actually going to go see that, and I was only like 3 or 4, I think. And I remember going to the drive-in and seeing it.
Absolutely, same here.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of those things, kids, that you don't see very often anymore. There are a couple of them around, but the drive-in has definitely not been around for a while. But
it's nostalgic.
Yes, it's very nostalgic. And seeing Star Wars for me was it was a huge deal because it was kind of like space opera, I guess, is kind of how they go about it. So, and I think that's why even today I can appreciate it even now. I was always curious about why they started out with 4, 5, and 6, but we may get to that a little bit later on in the show. But it just kind of gave me a real appreciation, I think, for sci-fi at the time. Mac, did it have any kind of Lisa says space pirates?
Someone take her phone away, please. Actually, I have a story about Star Wars. The first time I saw it was like yourself in a drive-in here in Granite, the old Bel Air.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I was more excited to see the show. You know how drive-ins back in our day had double features,
Right. Some still do.
Some still, yeah. I know the one in Belleville does. And I can't say enough for drive-ins. It's great entertainment. It's nostalgic. You got it. Before they had those big, huge metal speakers that you'd hang on your window, but now you can get it on the radio while you drain your car battery. But
right, or into the gas tank.
Right, but in the same, going back to that, as a kid, my dad, whose parent didn't have a station wagon back in the late 70s, early 80s, but I have memories of going. Yeah. The grocery grabbers. I have memories of going to the Bel Air Drive-In to see this particular movie, but being 4 years old, I conked out. Surprise. But what I do remember watching is the first movie that showed before Star Wars, which was The Black Hole.
Oh, wow.
And I remember loving that movie after that.
I haven't seen that movie in like forever and a day.
Go on Disney Plus, dude. It's there. I watched it and I'm like, 40-something years later, I'm like, really?
So speaking of Star Wars and coming out in 77, back in the 90s, they released a Star Wars special edition where Lucas went back and just kind of, redid some of the special effects, things like that. Did you find that to be more
sacrilegious? Enjoyable? Yes.
Oh, so you didn't like it at all?
I'm not big on editing certain things to today's standards as far as special effects and that. I like them as they were meant to be.
So do you feel it takes something away from the movie then?
It really depends on how you mean taking away. For some people it adds a certain level of excitement to it, newness to it. I just prefer the old, this is the way it was. This is the technology we had at the time. This is how we used it. How did the Death Star explode in 77 as opposed to 90? There was a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, when you add the CGI in there, you're definitely going to have a difference in there. But do you feel that it took away? Does it take away some of the nostalgia for you, or just does the technology hold?
It changes it. It changes it. It changes the feel of it. Because in the 77 version, it was breaking for the time. As you said, the special effects were specific at the time. In 90, there was more advances due to computers, things like that. So that's what it was at the 90s. And as we got on to the later movies in this century, CGI is much more developed. So I take it in the context of the 70s, the 90s, and now, as what's normal and accepted. I guess you could say, if that makes sense.
Normal and accepted.
Well, what was God, what's the word I'm looking for?
What was kind of high tech, technologically advanced back then, and
what was new and exciting then? I guess you should say.
Gotcha. Well, it's kind of like watching Terminator,
right?
If you watch Terminator back then we're talking cutting edge technology, and we're watching this, and we're just like, holy crap, this is freaking awesome. And then you look at it now and you notice that Arnold Schwarzenegger's face is actually a clay model that they've, added some lights into or whatever.
Right.
But it's funny because back then it seemed like totally awesome. And now it looks extremely cheesy, to see it. But when you do look at the technological advances that they're using in movies now, it makes me wonder how awesome things look now, if they're just going to look super remedial by the time, 10, 20 years from now as well.
You're always going to have advancements, especially in the movie industry, with tinkering with this, tinkering with that. What looks good, what looks more realistic, and I think that's really what they're going for, is a more realistic. Now, as you said, 10, 20 years, they may go for what's what's everything going to look like 20, 40 years from now? You know,
No.
it's really interesting to sit there and kind of think about how movies are going to evolve in that time, because they've come a long way, even in the last 20 years.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Now, Cherry, did you have any kind of like did Star Wars when it came out, did it or even, Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, did it really have any kind of effect on you at all? Or what are your thoughts as far as like the way they were able to create that movie then and then come back and do the first 3 episodes? And what are your thoughts on that?
On it come like you want to know my original Star Wars story and then
Sure.
what do I think about the change? So similar to Scott, I also saw Star Wars from the backseat of my mom and dad's Vega.
Yeah.
However, here's the catch. I really wanted to see Star Wars, but being 3 years old, I don't get a say in such things. So I actually saw Star Wars out the back window at the other screen. So we were watching a movie that involved motorcycles and I believe BMX bikes, and I couldn't tell you what the name of it was. On screen number 1 was the screen
Mad
we were
Max?
actually parked at, and Star Wars was being played at on the other screen that I could see out the
You
back
mean it wasn't the
window.
random porno?
There may have been porn involved. I don't know. I was too busy watching out the back window. So I did see Star Wars for the first time at Bel Air, but I couldn't hear it. So it was nice when I actually finally did get to watch it and see it. Now,
She was at Bel Air, not French Village.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am a huge Darth Vader fan. But, I mean, if you have ever, well, neither
She's
one of
like
you.
the throaty breathing.
Yeah, neither one of you. Well, I mean, maybe, but neither one of you have seen my massive Darth Vader collection. But huge Darth Vader fan. Not so much a big fan of the movies themselves. But I'm not a fan of movies at all.
So you're more of a fan of the characters.
I like the characters. Yeah. The movies for me, I loved Empire Strikes Back, and I got a big kick out of the new ones that came out. I really did. I know they're trash, but I really liked them. So I don't know.
Here's a question for you then, as far as movies go. Do you really like the origin stories?
Yeah, kind of.
No,
I mean,
let me use one as an example. Kind of
Okay.
like the in the X-Men, the Wolverine origin
I love it.
story.
Yeah.
Oh, see, and that's what I was wondering. If you like the specific character origin stories.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. I mean, this will be more your guys' conversation this episode, but movies for me are just not. They were not something that I was into as a kid, and really not until my mid-20s did I even start to be like. I haven't seen E.T. I haven't seen Goonies. I haven't seen a lot of what your guys would call classics.
Looks like it's a film night at Cherry's house.
I know, and I just can't stand it. I can't stand to give up. This will sound really sarcastic because I'll sit through a 4-hour baseball game, but I cannot stand to give up an hour and a half of my day to watch a movie.
Cherry,
Yes,
we're
dear.
going to hijack you, and we're going to watch Goonies.
I had
You're
to crash.
not-
I had to crash her house one night. Me and her husband had to make her watch Roadhouse.
Oh yeah,
You had not seen Roadhouse?
that's right. I just
How do you not
watched
see Roadhouse?
Yep. And
You're
boy,
fired.
boy, am I great. I finally got to see that, Jim.
But you know what? I watch that movie every time it comes on. Which
Roadhouse?
we could segue now into what movies do you always watch when they come on?
Oh, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yep, that's one.
Hands down. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is if it's on, we're stopping to watch it.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club is
Hate
another
that
one.
movie.
What?
Really?
What
I-
do you hate about it? Molly
I
Ringwald?
Well, hang on, I lost my microphone. There's something about that movie. I have never really enjoyed it. I know everybody else goes gaga over. I do like Pretty in Pink, which is probably very similar to that. I'll watch Pretty in Pink every time it comes on, but I
Good
just
movie. Great
That's
movie.
Vader, right?
And Lisa
that's
asks what I watch every time it comes on. I said Roadhouse.
I'm gonna guess Tombstone.
Tombstone
Oh,
is another one.
Yeah. Gotta watch
Yeah.
Tombstone.
Any Rocky movies?
Ugh, never seen Rocky.
I don't know.
Any of them.
After 1 and 2, I was good. I mean, I'll watch them, but it's not something I want to stop
tell
the
you
channel
what.
for.
Three was my favorite.
Rocky 3 was? Was that the Dolph Lundgren one?
No, that was 4.
4? Okay. Which one was Mr. T?
3.
3. Okay, yeah, I'll watch that one.
Clubber Lang, fool.
Because I pity the fool who don't watch Rocky.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Wow.
What do I watch? My secret's out. What do I watch every time it comes on? Titanic.
Oh, Titanic?
Every time.
That's my movie I avoid like the plague.
Wow, I think I've seen it twice.
I watch
That's
it
enough.
every damn time it comes on
Why?
television.
Why?
Well,
Like, I love the
wait,
Titanic.
wait,
I
wait,
can't
wait,
stand
wait,
that
wait,
movie.
wait.
go. I'll never let go.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
shut up. First off, it's history. And you guys know I love history.
Sure.
Second off, you get to see Kate Winslet's boobs.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay, you
Points
can't
for
argue with that, I guess.
Everybody knows how I feel about redheads.
Are you going to sit through a 2.5 hour long movie, though, just to see them titties?
Everyone knows that you
Every
just, like, you know,
Damn time.
it's not
Who
just
am I talking
redheads.
to?
I think if you see boobs on
Yes,
the TV,
Lisa, we know.
that's probably
Spoiler, the
something to
boat
watch.
sinks.
I'm only surprised because I am a big Titanic, the actual ship. Like, I'm a big fan of that. Like, I love the artifacts that come back from it, the
Mhm.
stories, the whole thing
Mhm.
about it. But I loathe and detail. Again, I'm not a movie fan, so don't judge me. But I cannot.
Oh, I'll judge you.
Ugh,
I would just
no.
have to say that's not one of Leonardo DiCaprio's like greatest
Done.
movies.
Done.
Maybe if we saw Leo's boobs.
Well, Lisa has said her boobs don't require a 2-hour wait time.
Ooh, gee,
So-
she is on fire tonight.
I think she.
And Cherry leaves the studio in the garage, and
Yes.
goes into the house.
I'll be right back.
I think Mag is more like, I'll be right back in just a minute. And it won't
I'm
take
in
2
another
hours.
town, kids.
So yeah, I like DiCaprio as an actor, but that movie just didn't really do anything for me. And I think it was mainly because I don't know. I just think that the character was overplayed and overhyped.
It,
And
it was. It was. You know, but you cannot deny those two have a chemistry as seen in, Revolutionary Road.
Yeah.
Good one.
yeah, that was a good movie.
It
Billy
was.
Zane's in Titanic. So I
Billy
mean,
Zane is in
that's
Titanic.
kind of worth watching it now that I think. Maybe I'll watch it later. No, probably not.
No, you won't. Because
Billy-
he's a dick in that movie.
So, let's talk a few minutes about characters because Kim, you said, or Cherry, you said more. The
The
secret's
what?
out, folks. Cherry, you said
Ooh.
more that you're more interested in the characters. How much does a character play into the movies that you watch as opposed to the storyline or something like that? And do you find yourself leaning more towards the dark characters or the underdog
Oh.
characters?
So,
Or
so let me clarify that, Chuck. Do
Sure,
you find yourself more enthralled in the character development or the entire story? I think, and Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that kind of what you were asking?
Well,
no?
either way,
Oh,
it's,
Yeah,
never
I mean-
mind.
it's too convoluted for my wee brain either way. But
Your
I
wee
like,
brain.
yeah. Again, I don't really watch movies. Ugh, I don't even know how to
Well,
put it.
What about
but
Disney movies? You watch Disney movies at
not-
all?
Well, I've seen Disney movies, but even most of those classics I just now caught up on in the last 10 years.
Gotcha.
I'm not- other than Cars. Cars, I love Cars. Oh my
And
God. I could
I
watch
have a,
Cars over and over again.
I
and I
have a
have.
fun fact on that one.
Okay.
On Cars?
Yeah. As my kids grew up, they absolutely loved that movie. Loved it.
Nice.
I mean, my oldest Tristan, he would sit here just like,
Yeah.
blink, son, blink.
Yeah.
Kind of glued to the TV, huh?
That was the first movie that I took Stink Bomb to, was actually
Stink
Cars.
Bomb. I like that name.
Yeah.
All right, we got
and-
Cherry Bomb, Stink Bomb,
and Time Bomb.
Time Bomb. There we
Oh,
go.
wait. We have a comment for Cherry, as it were. Here we go.
All right. What does it say?
Says sexy voice, hot ass. That's character development
Wow.
right there.
Well, hello, Lisa. I'll be right in.
She and Cherry is sporting the extra throaty voice tonight. but as I was saying, Cars, it's, you figure 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere in there, very nostalgic, old town feel. Americana.
Route 66,
Yeah.
my fave.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Referencing there.
And I walked from my house a block up to Hillsboro, which is
Right.
essentially 157, and going through Edwardsville. And I walked my son, who was 7, 8 years old at the time. I told him, I said, "Hey, you want to go see Route 66?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Walked up a block. That's old Route 66.
That's cool. Yeah.
Was he pretty impressed by that?
Blew his mind.
That's awesome. And that's something else that I've noticed. As kids, movies change for us as we get to be older and we get to be adults. Like we have this totally different look and viewpoint of particular movies when we're children and when we're younger. And then as we get older and our minds start to crave more depth in a movie, that the movies that we thought were super cool and super awesome when we were younger tend to be, and they're kids movies, tend to be a little more, I don't say empty, because there are some kids movies that definitely are not empty. When you take movies like what was the Feelings movie, Inside Out.
Yeah.
When you take movies like Inside Out, I mean, that was really,
I still haven't seen that all the way through.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty deep for kids, but as we get older, we tend to notice that our taste in movies change. And like when we were teenagers, it was Jean-Claude Van Damme movies all the time, and even younger than him, Charles
Bloodsport,
Bronson
baby.
was like awesome. Patrick Swayze. I mean, those guys all kicked ass, and that's what we wanted to see.
Well, until to Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Yeah, that movie, it was made for some people.
So,
But it was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, it
it
wasn't
wasn't made for
movie,
Chuck. It's
but
made for some people, just not Mr. Hill.
it was definitely a step outside of Patrick Swayze's normal, and Wesley Snipes, if you think about it. I mean, Blade the Vampire Hunter is strutting around in a dress, and John Leguizamo, I think he's in that movie also. And
Yes.
he played the Spawn character, so
Isn't that amazing? And speaking of the Spawn character, he had to squat the entire time. Did you ever hear that?
I did not.
Yeah, when he played the clown demon or whatever he was, he literally had to squat in that makeup and costume the entire filming time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that movie was one of those movies that definitely kind of verged between superhero and horror film, and that, the superhero genre has actually made a huge explosion.
Huge.
With Iron Man back in 2008. Man, it's hard to believe that was 14 years ago. But, that
Jeez.
movie, we got superhero movies. What would you say your favorite genre of movie is? Do you like commas, dramas, rom-coms? What would you say your favorite genre is?
I really don't have one, to be honest. It kind of fits into, kind of what I'm feeling. I'll scan through movie services, things like that. It just, what am I feeling like watching for the day?
Yeah.
I'll scan through the channels, something will catch my eye. I'm like, well, I'll go through the entire thing, then I'll scroll back and say, okay, well, I'll watch this.
Do you find that movies affect your mood at all?
Not necessarily. It really comes down to, what am I doing? What do I want to invest the time in now? And you brought up earlier how we view movies then as opposed to now.
Yeah.
I'll still watch Transformers, the movie from 1986 now. Still. And I'll get sad every damn time Optimus Prime dies.
Absolutely.
Yes. But
Spoiler alert!
will you watch the 1970 Spider-Man movie the same way? Or will you watch the Captain America movie that they had out in 1991 or 2 the same way?
No,
Have you seen those?
I have not.
Yeah, not many people have.
However, I have watched the Spider-Man from the Electric Company back in the 70s.
No.
Oh, totally showed my granddaughter that the other day. The Electric Company stuff.
Really?
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No,
8,
that's
9,
Sesame
10.
Street, dude. That's Sesame Street.
No, it was
Yeah.
Electric Company.
Nope, it was on Sesame Street.
Was it?
Mhm.
I think I might be. Well, okay.
Is that a challenge?
Charity
No.
want to turn off his camera.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
challenge
He's done.
anything.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not going to challenge. It said, okay. Well, Spider-Man from Electric Company. That was good. But anyway, I showed my granddaughter that, we had some pretty cool stuff back when we were kids as far as animation and TV shows go. So, Cherry, do you? I know you said you don't really watch movies that often.
Speaking of someone
But-
who's still on it,
You, huh? Oh, horror.
Oh my goodness.
Those are
Cherry,
from the
maybe you need
Door
to take a
section.
trip in the house.
I might have to just to calm her down.
I don't think she's in the
Wink,
house.
wink, wink.
I could be wrong, but yeah. So, Cherry, I know you said you don't watch movies very often,
Mm-mm.
but when a movie comes out or something, like, what does pique your interest? Like, what genre kind of piques your interest?
Well, I do like a good thriller movie. I don't mind horror movies, but I'm not real big into the whole slashy stuff. I like having to think about it a little bit, maybe
Yeah.
a few jump scares, that kind of thing. But I really don't watch movies that I have to do any kind of thinking. Like Inception is lost on me. I still have no
Is
idea
that
what
too
the
deep?
hell is. Yeah, I want to be entertained. I want to see flashy, hot actors and actresses. I don't give a shit about the story. I just
So
don't.
you want to see a little TNA? Is that what you're saying?
Well, sure. I mean,
so like,
heck,
Any
so like
80s
all the
horror
Friday,
movie.
all the Friday the 13th movies.
no,
Any
no.
80s horror movie.
Yeah,
You're gonna. That's what you're gonna see.
like really only because I've only really started getting into watching movies. Like I said, the last 25 years or so. It's just whatever looks good. I don't. If I watch a movie and all of a sudden I catch myself thinking, I'm like, wait. No.
I turned my brain off. Stop.
Yeah. I just want to, well, as you guys probably know, I fall asleep at the end of just about every movie I do try to watch anyway. So half the time I don't even know what happened.
You
but,
and Mr. Time, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Time.
definitely.
Oh,
The
we could
time-
totally call him Father Time,
Yeah,
can't we?
Lord.
Speaking of like checking out and only wanting to be entertained, I do want to give another shout out again, real quick, to our sponsor for the month of May, Don Chencho Mexican Restaurant. And you can go out there. They're here in Granite City. Check them out over on Namioki Road. Again, tomorrow night, Cinco de Mayo. Make sure you check them out. They got a DJ going from 2 to 11. And yeah,
I'm sure some very good drink specials.
I wish we had
Oh,
some
yeah.
right now.
Yeah, some of that margarita sounds pretty good right now, to be honest with you. But yeah, go out there and see them. If you can't make it out tomorrow, by all means, check them out on Friday night where they've got karaoke going on. And if they don't have karaoke, they got a DJ. But yeah, again, I just want to, thank them for sponsoring the show this month and bringing this to you guys.
Absolutely doodly neighborly do.
Yeah. So awesome. Do you guys find yourselves looking for? So Cherry, I'm pretty much understanding that you don't.
But you keep asking me.
Well, it's all about inclusion. We are all about inclusion here on the Mac and Chuck
Oh,
show.
here we go.
Well, Mac, what about you? Do you ever look? Let me rephrase this. Have you ever watched a movie and walked away from that movie with your mind changed about a certain ideal or anything like that? Have you ever seen a movie that's affected you to the point where you're like, I really didn't think about it that way before, but kind of a thinker movie?
No. I have gone away from a movie feeling better about myself. Like that kind of thing, right? Where
Sure.
It was kind of a thinky movie, but it
Thank
was
God I'm not that guy.
No, not that. Well, disregard. Never mind. You know what? I try to be serious with you and you want to be a turd. So
Go
just
ahead.
Move on.
Go
Oh
ahead.
my!
Hold on.
You got schooled. You will hang your head in shame.
I feel shame.
Now I got to think about the other question.
So no, just movies about that have changed your thought pattern, your thought process, or anything like that. Could be could have been a documentary or anything along those lines.
Didn't change my thought process, but enlightened me on information I didn't know before.
Okay, so like documentaries.
Well, documentaries, but even like one of those based on real life stories. It's one of those like, wow, I didn't know that information before. I may need to revisit this type thing, if that makes sense.
So what you're saying is that you've seen a movie that just kind of made you want to dive a little deeper into what the content of the movie was and maybe what the actual
Or
facts
revisit
were?
it. Yeah. There was this. I didn't watch it, but that Renee Zellweger miniseries about Pam Hupp here in the St. Louis area.
Mm-hmm.
It really kind of made me research that a little more and find out exactly what happened. That chick is nuts.
I haven't watched that yet. I do want to see it.
That chick is nuts.
Yeah, well,
Well,
St. Louis.
if
saying.
she's nuts, I definitely want to watch it now, you know? So, yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen a movie really that's altered my line of thought. I mean, again, kind of like you said, it definitely has. There have been movies that have got me thinking before. Um, it's funny, the history thing. So, you mentioned you like movies on history and historical facts and things like that, and kind of based on that. And I think for me, one of the things that kind of got me thinking about the way things actually were was the movie Glory. Have you seen it? We can't hear you.
I know that. I had to scream at my kid, and I didn't want anybody else to hear that. Love that movie.
Yeah.
I really do. It's that's one. I don't watch it every time it comes on, but if I haven't seen it in a while, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'll watch this. It's one of those movies for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a channel stopper for me. Or if I see it on one of the streaming services, I'll watch it a little bit. So it's probably one of my favorite movies. Definitely be in the top 10
Mhm.
of those. What would you say your favorite movie is?
Oh my gosh! If we remove holiday shows from that,
Yeah, Christmas Story doesn't count.
I know. Stop. Honestly, I'm gonna have to think on that one. To be honest with you, so you and Cherry go ahead and spew yours, and I'll sit here and think on that for a minute. I'm really gonna have to.
I've got two. I'm not sure which one I enjoy more, but I would say that my two favorite movies are The Godfather Part 2, and it has to be Part 2 because of all the
All right.
Italian, and I love it. And my other favorite movie would be a Fight Club.
Oh,
for
Fight
sure.
Club.
Yeah. Oh, Fight Club was life-changing for me.
Nice.
I bet it was.
So I've got a couple that number one, I would have to say would be a somewhat historically accurate or based movie would be Braveheart.
Mhm.
Really, and I like it for me, it's more about the cinematography of the movie is just absolutely outstanding. And the character development of William Wallace, I found to be, very intriguing. And it was just it's one of those movies that I watched. I enjoy watching it. I'll watch it every time it's on.
Mhm.
And
You don't really believe it's historically
No,
accurate.
it's not.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I misheard
No.
what you said then.
No,
'cause
it's not.
it's very lacking in accuracy.
Right. And the interesting thing
Interesting.
that I found about is a movie that made me dive a little more into the historical inaccuracy of it, but it's still made for a great movie. The cinematography was great.
Mhm.
I felt that the performances were pretty great also. The guy who played Robert DeBruce, I can't remember what his name was, but I mean,
Angus McFadden.
McFadden, that's it, yeah. So I mean, I kind of became a fan of his after that movie. So that's up there on my list. Kingdom of Heaven is another great movie because it's got Liam Neeson in it, another great actor. I love, he's been in a couple stinkers, but for the most part, I really do enjoy his movies. I thought Taken was great. I could have
He's
done
got a
without Taken 2.
particular set of skills.
Yeah, I thought Taken was great. Taken 2, we probably could have done without.
His last
Oh wait,
7
I'm gonna
movies
I'm
have
gonna
been
put this up. I'm gonna put this up here, and I have a comment on this one after I put it up. If you guys will grant me a few seconds.
What Dreams May Come. That's a good one.
This
That one.
Good movie.
and I would not recommend someone do this, but let me kind of bring you through. I watched this movie 1 week after Caitlin passed away.
Oh my.
So, if you're familiar with the movie, it's very at the end of the movie, it's very emotional. If you guys know if you guys know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that I love that. I love the and Chuck, I think you may appreciate this. I love the the heaven, purgatory, hell aspect to it, and showing what true love really means.
Hmm.
And I think that's the key part of that. What that movie shows is the true love and the lack of a better word, the soulmate aspect of what really draws the human chemistry together. And I really think that movie really encompasses all that.
Yeah, I mean, cinematically, it was a fantastic movie.
Right.
You know, with the special effects, and I mean, it was just it was a really good movie. I felt it didn't mean as much to me as what a lot of other people think about it, but I can understand where you're coming from, and why you may feel a bit of a personal connection to that movie. So yeah. Speaking of what dreams may come, your favorite movies. It's your turn.
Are we talking favorite movies or movies that mean a lot? Because to me, that's two different things.
Let's go favorite
Let's just
first, and then
Okay. Roadhouse is one. The Rocky series is one, just because I love the feel of it. The hometown boy made good type feel to it. My gosh, 80s movies. I grew up on them. Breakfast Club. To me, that just shows the quintessential high school in the 80s, and how really the classes separate when we're all really just the same people. I thought that was, looking back on that and our high school careers, as that movie is just very profound for that time, in my opinion.
Now, if you want to talk about a cinematic masterpiece, Commando. No, not what I'm going. I'm talking about the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Lisa, I have never seen that movie.
Deep Blue Sea?
Never
I
seen
don't
it.
know that I have either. Looks like we have a couple movies to add to our list.
There's nothing ever wrong with that. Emotionally personal movies, Bridge to Terabithia.
Good movie. It's a tearjerker for sure.
That's a tearjerker, and I saw that 2 weeks. I went on a daddy-daughter date 2 weeks before she passed. So, that movie does really hit home.
So what did you think about My Girl? Did that have any kind of emotional...
Then or now?
Either way.
No, not to me. Because I didn't... Emotional, it was very sad how it ended.
Right.
But personally, I didn't see it, at around that time. So it didn't have any kind of nostalgic personal feel to it for me. Again, it was a very sad ending to the movie. No one wants to lose. I just, if I were to take anything away from that, it would be, how important friendship and how fragile it can be and how quick it can end.
Yeah, that's true. What about music movies? Do you have any favorite music movies?
Oh my gosh. I really don't watch a lot of musicals, to be honest.
Not necessarily musicals, but movies like
Grease. Grease is one for me.
Well, Grease would be a good one. I'm thinking more along Spinal Tap, or
No. Oh, you mean like band movies?
yeah, just kind of like what they could be even fictional characters or fictional bands. Like for me, The Five Heartbeats is probably one of the best, movies that I've seen out
Lisa
there.
brings up a good one.
That's
This
a
is a good
fantastic one.
It's a very good movie, and a very, which I mean, good Lord, in the last 15 minutes, it could lead us into, does a soundtrack make a movie?
Yeah.
I really liked Across the Universe, kind of a music type thing. And
Yeah.
I can't stand the Beatles, so that's pretty shocking that I actually enjoyed that movie. But
Did you enjoy the music that was performed by different performers?
absolutely.
Did you enjoy the movie Yesterday?
I didn't dislike it. I will tell you, well, Mr. Baum is he hates the Beatles even more than I
Right.
do. He
Yes,
could
I know
not
this.
stand it.
It's Father Time.
Yeah, I enjoyed the premise of it. I actually did think it was kind of cool. Yeah.
I did too.
think
I
I'll ever watch
really did. I like the premise of, what if,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that then seeing, the guy visit a certain member of the band
Yeah, that
many
was-
years later.
that
I
was
thought
the
that was
best
really
part.
cool.
Yes,
That,
for
yeah,
sure.
that was cool.
Music movies. If we really have to get in soundtracks, I know you two are very partial to the Phantom of the Opera soundtrack.
The movie was freaking terrible.
Yeah, the movie.
The
just
movie was horrible.
trash,
Ugh.
trash.
Joel Schumacher. Just
My mother
Retire.
was my mother was actually lucky enough to see the original Broadway cast in Los Angeles.
nice.
Michael Crawford, Sarah Brightman. One movie that I think the soundtrack makes is Top Gun. You can say all you want,
I'm thinking Cherry disagrees.
I can't
with you on
stand that movie.
but
It's taking my breath away. That's it.
no,
That's
it's
the
not just
soundtrack.
no,
Top
it's
Gun
not just
anthem,
that.
man. The
Oh,
Top
Danger
Gun
Zone.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I forgot
Yes.
Danger Zone. You're right.
Danger Zone, the Top Gun anthem, Berlin
Take my
song
breath
was
away
was
done
mixed in
15
there.
different ways. That's
Everybody thinks Top Gun and they think Berlin.
Yeah.
it.
I think Kenny Loggins.
I think Top Gun and I think Trash Can.
What, throwing up in one?
Or
Well, I
dumping the
don't mind
TV in
looking
one.
at Tom Cruise, but that's it.
Footloose. That's another one where the soundtrack makes the movie.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of be considered a rock and roll movie, I guess, even though it's not
Yeah.
about a band specifically or anything like that. I think most people probably
Would you call that an 80s musical?
no, because they weren't singing themselves in it. I would call it an 80s dance movie because that's definitely what that movie was about.
Right.
I think that movie was more about the 80s Gen Xer mentality a little bit, and just kind of a breaking point and kind of an ushering in of our attitude is going to change a little bit because we're kind of tired of doing what people tell us to do. And this is telling us it's okay to do our own thing, even if, other people don't agree with it. That's a little bit what I got out of that movie.
No, I can see that.
Again, I don't ever watch movies to be educated. I watch movies to be entertained.
To turn your brain off.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much
Absolutely.
it's checkout time. I enjoy performers. I want to watch movie. Now, if there's a movie that I'm watching that is just overtly cramming a social,
Construct.
know exactly what
yeah,
you're
I'm looking for another word. Anyway,
Agenda.
yes, thank you. A social agenda down my throat. I don't care to watch it, and I don't care what agenda they're pushing down my throat.
Right.
I don't want to hear it or deal with it. And if you're wanting to enlighten me a little bit, enlighten me about what the point is, but don't cram it down someone's throat.
Right.
And in situations like that, I would choose not to go see certain movies.
I would agree.
Now, if a entertainer is behaving a certain way, that doesn't necessarily I'm going to not go see their movies or entice me to go see their movies because I go to a movie to be entertained. Kind of like concerts. If I like your music, I'll go check your music out and I'll go to your concert or I'll go to your movie or whatever. But there was a book written a while back and it was just basically called Shut Up and Sing. And that's kind of what I feel, as far as all that goes. But I don't really watch movies to have my thought process altered. Thinkers are okay, but I really want to go and I want to check out for 2 to 3 hours and enjoy something that's nostalgic. Take the Batman movies, for example. I go to watch a Batman movie because it's freaking Batman.
Mhm.
I don't go to watch a Batman movie because I want to worry about big corporate greed or anything like that. I want to go watch a Batman movie. Why? Because when I was a kid, I dug Batman.
Mhm.
As a 48-year-old man, I dig Batman. And I use the term man loosely.
Yeah.
But,
If you go to see a movie, Chuck, like you're going to see a Star Wars movie, for example, since it's May the 4th, I'll bring it up, and you're really digging this movie, 2 hours, you're into it. and you're getting into the final 15 minutes of it, and all of a sudden they put a blatant political message that doesn't have anything to do with the original script, but it's whatever is.
Grr.
Does that immediately just flip your entire mood about the movie? Is that something that you constantly, because for me, I do. Like, I can enjoy a movie all the way until they spit out some bullshit political statement
Yeah.
that fits whatever agenda all of a sudden they wanted. And like, they just slide it in there ever so sneaky. And that's all that I will remember out of that stupid movie. It's
Yeah.
all I will remember.
Yeah, sometimes that pisses me off when that happens because it ruins the movie experience for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that may determine whether I go see a sequel or not. But yeah, I've only left a couple of movies before like literally got up and walked out of the movie.
I wish I could remember the last
You know what one I wish I would have walked out of? Which one was that? The Scientology movie with John Travolta.
Oh,
Was that-
Battlefield Earth.
Yes, I wish I would have walked out of that one like as soon as the opening credits came on.
Didn't even go watch it. I don't
didn't
really-
see it. Big
Pulp
shock.
Fiction was probably.
I
one of
went with a
the
couple
movies
friends and
that
they're like, "Man, I want to check this out. Good sci-fi movie." I'm sitting there, I'm like,
totally about Dianetics, and I was in Scientology, and yeah, that was one of
it
those movies.
made 0 cents.
Yeah, that was one of those movies I didn't even bother to go see because I was just like, I already know what I'm walking into, and that's the other thing also. If I know what I'm walking into, I might go see it, but that will disappoint me less if I know what I'm going. If I know
Right.
that I'm walking into, a movie
Crap.
that's all about pushing a social agenda or something like that, I'll go to it with eyes wide open.
Right.
It's when I get into a movie and the platform is used to ruin the nostalgia of the movie. And they do try that with some of the comic book movies and superhero movies and things like that, which when I go to a movie now, I know what I'm in for. Like, I know that there's probably going to be some social agenda there. It's really just a matter of whether or not it's crammed down my throat, Cherry, like you said, in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been a great movie, and you just took a nosedive into the stupid pit with whatever it was you just
Stupid.
pulled.
You went down the hole with Buffalo Bill.
So
I'm in a hole.
I do want to encourage all of our viewers, not many out there right now, but hopefully, throughout the week, you guys will catch the show. Just kind of give us some of your thoughts also on, what you might like what are your movie thoughts? Do you go to movies to be educated, entertained, a little bit of both? What's the best movie you've seen? What's the worst movie you've seen? And boy, do I have a movie for you as far as the worst one I have ever seen.
Worse than what
Hands
I said?
down. Huh?
Worse than what I said?
Oh, hands down. This is the worst movie ever made.
I'm interested. I'm
So-
intrigued. You have my attention.
Okay, now you have those movies that are so bad they're good. Okay, like there's a movie called Troll, which is so bad it's good. I mean, if you watch Troll, it's a terrible movie, but it's at least entertaining. There's a movie. I kid you not. Lisa, you know exactly what I'm going to say also. There's a movie called Terror at Blood Fart Lake. It is the worst movie ever.
This is a real movie.
It is not only is it a real movie, they actually made a sequel.
Is this one of those
Yep.
USA Up All Night movies?
No. This is something that Gilbert Godfrey wouldn't even touch. Okay.
That's horrible. That is absolutely because he
Gilbert
touched
Godfrey
Night of the
was in this
Comet.
movie.
Okay, he did Night of the Comet, so that's horrible.
Oh,
Oh.
Night of the Comet I liked.
Yeah. Do what?
Night of the Comet. You never
Oh.
heard of that?
I did. That was actually
I liked
that
that
was another
one.
yeah, that was another movie that was so bad it was good.
Okay, there you go. That one I'll give you.
Yeah, I want to say
Lisa says it was epic.
that was a Mr. Burris movie. He came over here and like we actually paid, I think, $2.99 to
You
watch this
paid
movie.
money?
Yes, because it was supposed to be such a great movie. Mac, it was hands down the worst movie I've ever laid eyes on.
Was it a shitter, as we say?
The title included Blood Fart Lake, and it was supposed to be a great movie.
It's a
I didn't say it was
cinematic
supposed to be
masterpiece.
great.
You
I
just
didn't
said
say
it was supposed to be great.
Okay, yeah, it was supposed to be like this really good movie.
Or was it supposed to be interesting? Right.
Interesting, very interesting.
Smooth, cherry, smooth.
But yeah, worst movie hands down. Troll was pretty bad.
So these movies on Sci-Fi with like Debbie Gibson and Tiffany
Sharknado.
fighting over the table, was that Megazilla versus Super Python or some stupidity
Something like that.
The
Yeah.
only reason I watched it to watch Tiffany and Debbie Gibson cat fight. Oh, I'll admit it. Only reason.
That's about the only reason anyone watched that movie.
Touche.
To
What
see
movie
like
is this? I don't
it was called what was it?
Hang on, I'll find it.
wasn't
Hang on.
Sharknado.
No, hang on.
If it's on Sci-Fi, it'd probably.
It was actually.
Yeah, it was a sci-fi movie. It was something versus something, like some weird ass.
Hang
story.
on. Hang on. Mega Python versus Gatoroid.
There. Yeah.
Okay, then.
And you don't have to watch the whole movie because the fight scene happens within the first 20 minutes.
Oh, good.
And you can always YouTube it as well.
Touche.
Just type in, Debbie Gibson, Tiffany,
Cat fight.
cat fight.
I still don't think I'll watch it, but thanks.
I do remember. So most of you know I'm a huge Debbie Gibson fan.
Christ.
I admit it.
Yep. Right there. Debbie Gibson versus Tiff. Cat
YouTube.
fight. There it is.
YouTube's going to flag us now.
Yes.
Why? We didn't say anything. We just showed the picture. Okay, what's this movie Lisa speaks of, Dead Alive? Never heard of it.
I'm not sure if I've seen. I think I have seen it.
Is Dead Alive the one with Rowdy Piper in it?
No, that's They
Oh,
Live.
that's
That's
They
They
Live.
Live,
They
yeah.
Live. Yep. Never mind.
Yeah, talk about a
Which
Oscar
was
performance there.
Epic.
Well, how about V? You remember V, like the
Loved
original
it.
V back in the '80s?
That's another one I'll watch every time it comes on.
V, yeah, pretty good stuff.
Absolutely.
The new one was okay. It wasn't
The show
anything
was
near
all
what
right.
the original was. Yeah, yeah.
But the
So
movie, oh God, I was captivated as a kid. I gotta watch this.
So Lisa says rabid monkey zombies and epic lawnmower scene. So let's talk about that for a minute. What about like, do you have movies that you've really liked that were books prior and then they were turned into movies? What's your opinion on that?
So normally I appreciate the book almost every time,
Mm-hmm.
way more than the movie. But again, my favorite movie, Fight Club. That movie is probably the only movie I've ever watched where I really enjoyed it way
Okay,
more than the book.
Lisa's disgusting. I just looked at that. Wow.
Well, just remember, you don't have to wait 2 hours to see boobs with Lisa.
Giddy up.
So Cherry really liked Fight Club, the movie, better than the book. You're saying?
Yeah, better than the book.
Okay.
Well, they're kind of, they're
There's an
the
actual
same,
book.
but they're not.
Mhm.
Yes, there's an actual book, Fight Club. Yeah, but it's
You learn
different.
something new every day.
If you read it, it's not quite the same as the movie. The movie's way better, but generally speaking, I would choose the book over the movie every time.
Now, did the movie follow the book pretty closely as far
Not
as story?
really. Well, it's kind of hard to say. Not very closely. No, there's
Okay.
there's a lot of things that happen in the book that are way different than was covered in the movie. The movie's a lot better.
Gotcha.
It's still
know-
an entertaining book. Just I would rather watch the movie.
It seems the books that are made into movies, those actual books have a lot more graphic detail maybe than they can show in a movie.
Oh yeah.
You
Like,
kind of,
Sure.
especially during the times that we were growing up, the 80s and 90s, with like It and Creep Show and
Oh, Creep Show.
all that, even It, because actually the monster was a lot worse than what was portrayed in the miniseries in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was TV. Now I think that the newer movies, have actually done a pretty
Kind of
good job.
went closer to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing though about a Stephen King novel. Like I'm a pretty big Stephen King fan. Stephen King movies are kind of twofold, especially in the last 10, 12 years on his movies.
Mhm.
the books that he writes and the way that he writes, you're never going to get all that into a movie.
You're not.
You're just
and that's
not.
a good point. That's a great point.
And the problem with really enjoying a Stephen King novel, looking forward to the movie or to a series based on it, you're going to be disappointed every time because it just doesn't do it justice in the movie or the video or whatever it is you're watching, because he changes it. And I read an interview with him recently that said that he changes it on purpose because he doesn't want his readers to feel like they're watching the same thing that they've already read. And I really think that what he's missing is we want to visualize what we've read, because we have a picture of it. When I read a book or listen to a book,
Mhm.
I have a visualization in my head, and I want to see what someone else's kind of interpretation of what I'm reading looks like. If you read the 11/22/63
Mhm.
novel, great, great, great book. That's actually the novel that brought me back to reading King. And
The
the
miniseries
movie series
sucked.
sucked. There's no other
Sucked.
way to put
I
that.
haven't even
And
been able to finish it.
Don't
Yeah, I
worry
mean-
about it. You're not missing anything.
yeah, for one thing, James Franco as the main character, no, he did not do. No, and then they just changed it and cut, and it was terrible.
Now,
And-
now, tell me, Chuck, not to interrupt you, but while we're on this, at reading that book, were you mentally taken back to each time period?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and to say that can only be described as what has been described to me during those time periods, because obviously neither of us were alive
Right.
in the 50s or the 60s.
So we have a visual of what we think it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. Particularly when he was a teacher at the high schools,
Right.
and when he was involved. I mean, I went straight back to what was probably Grease-esque, I guess. if you
Grease-esque,
would,
yeah. Yep.
or Back to the Future-esque. I mean, just
Esque.
that. Just that whole that time period.
Yep.
Yeah. Under the Dome, another great book. The ending was stupid, but I mean, it was a great book. And when they did a miniseries on it, first of all, when I went to CBS, I pretty much knew it was going to be terrible. And then secondly, reading the book, have you read Under the Dome?
No.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff you're never going to get on public TV. I mean,
Right,
you're just
I'm sure.
not. And that kind of goes hand in hand with any or most Stephen King novels.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've pretty much been disappointed when I watch movies that have been made into, or watch books that have been made into movies. I don't know that there's really one. I thought the Lord of the Rings movies were pretty good. I mean, it's been years since I read the books, but watching the movies, I was like, I think that Peter Jackson has done a fantastic job of bringing those movies back, or bringing those movies to life.
Mhm.
Just on the flip side of that.
Now, have you seen a
Right.
movie and then read the book afterwards, and then it kind of changes the way that you think you would have those characters in your mind, how you would have envisioned them? Do you end up like and this is embarrassing, but like I saw the Twilight movie before I read Twilight, and then
Mhm.
when I'm reading Twilight, that's who I'm seeing is those actors, and it was kind of
Mhm.
disappointing for me. Like I wish I could have made my own basis, and then not that I
There's
have a problem
actually
with Robert Pattinson, but-
one where I saw the movie and then read the book, and,
Yeah.
and I felt limited
Yeah, because that's
to,
who
to-
your
to
brain
what
sees them.
where my brain went.
That's an interesting point.
And
Yeah.
the book and the movie was In Cold Blood by Truman Capote.
Mhm.
I love it.
Because seeing the movie first, there's only so much they can do in the time frame they made it,
Right.
as opposed to what he describes in the book. So I felt it really narrowed my vision of what my brain allowed me to visualize reading as opposed to seeing first.
So you felt watching the movie first, just
Limited my reading and what my brain allowed it to expand to.
Yeah.
so see, for me, it would have been The Hunger Games. Watched the movies first, had no interest in, reading the books at all. I just kind of felt that they were kind of geared more towards teens.
Adolescent.
Yeah, adolescents, teens. Yeah, and that's probably how how they were geared. But after watching the movies, it piqued my interest a little bit, so took up the books.
Yeah.
And I've always had kind of an overactive imagination, so I didn't really feel limited because I kind of had to strip my preconceived notion of what these actors look like.
Mhm.
And especially when, is it Suzanne Collins? Is she the one who wrote those? Suzanne something. When she was describing the characters, I was able to put out what I saw Jennifer Lawrence or Woody Harrelson or any of them look like, because the way she was describing them were completely and totally different
Yeah.
characters.
And I can see that.
Yeah, so that's one of those where I actually, I was able to suspend my preconceived visualization of the characters, and I actually really enjoyed the books much more than the movie. I did think the movies were good, but diving into that. Now, one of those instances where I found that the book complemented the movie quite a bit was Batman '89.
Really?
Yeah, so I went and I watched Batman, and I was like, okay, this is a great movie. I actually loved Michael Keaton's Batman. Can't wait to see him in the Flash. But I was at, I want to say it was Barnes and Noble or something like that. Yes, kids, there used to be actual bookstores. And they had the novelization of the Batman movie, and I watched it, and the way they were able to go in deeper into the character, just it gave me more entertainment to the movie, because when I watched the movie again and again and again and again and again, that it gave me more insight to the character's thought process. So that was one of those situations where I felt the book actually, or the movie actually, complemented the book.
Look at us. Look at us going over.
I know.
I don't know that I could read a superhero book. For superheroes.
Well, could you read a graphic novel?
Yeah.
No, graphic novel is just a really big comic book.
Right. Okay. Hang on a minute, guys.
Okay.
Continue the conversation. I'll be back to wrap it up.
So he just kind of leaves us there, Well, that's all right.
See ya.
So yeah, I do enjoy the superhero movies and the graphic novels. I think the superhero movies because it gives a lot of visualization in live action form to the comic books I read as a kid, and I feel
I enjoy comic books, like comic books, but what you were saying, this Batman '89, I enjoy Batman the movie. Yes,
yeah,
the Michael Keaton, that's my favorite one as well. But I don't think I would have enjoyed the corresponding book along with that. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was something new, and I don't know that I've read very many comic book novels since then.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did really complement the movie quite a bit, and I think that's I would probably be more okay with books that were turned into movies if they varied from the storyline a little bit, but still kind of kept to the true plot and just kind of what I remember, and because that's the whole reason to go watch them.
Yeah.
Is so we can have a live visualization of what we've read and enjoy someone else's, not interpretation plot wise, but interpretation of what they see it to be in their mind, and bringing these, books to life, so to speak. Right. Odd Thomas was one of those other ones also. Watched the movie, really great movie. Anton Yelchin, I think was his name, or Yelk. I really don't know how to pronounce his last name.
But I
Yelchin.
Yeah.
He was fantastic in the movie, and so that led me to read the books, and there were like 6, 7, maybe 8 books, but there were a lot of books, and but I felt that the movie, while it didn't encompass everything in the book, it was a nice companion to the book. And I had never read Dean Koontz prior to that.
Oh yeah, I had read all of those Odd Thomas books before the movie came out. I wasn't a big fan of the movie, but I kind of wish that poor Anton had not died, because I think if they had made a few more movies, they could have really delved more into that, because it was really good. But I love those books, and I am more of a Dean Koontz fan than Stephen King. But
joining back into this conversation, I haven't seen the Odd Thomas.
Mhm.
But I can tell you, reading Dean Koontz books, he does not like children.
Maybe that's why I liked him so much.
Oh!
Now, now I've tried reading Phantoms, which was a Dean Koontz book.
Mhm.
Couldn't get into it. And there was another Dean Koontz book that I tried to read. I couldn't get into it.
There was a couple that I couldn't put down. There was one to where he visited an abandoned military base where they're doing experiment. I can't remember what the name. Lightning, maybe
Mhm.
something
you're right.
lightning.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I mean, that was one that I had a hard time putting down. But Dean Koontz as an author, and even my mother, who's read many of his books as well, which she had them around the house. So I was like, I'm bored. Let me pull up a book, which kids don't do anymore, by the way. They don't look, I'm bored. Here, let me go on YouTube for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Watch other people play games.
Right. But, not getting away from, do you think Dean Koontz books could be made into movies?
No.
I'm
You
not
think-
familiar enough with his body of work to
I
answer
think
that.
they could probably be made into movies, but they wouldn't be very good. And I think that Odd Thomas is a prime example of that. There's
Mhm.
just too much that's covered. And obviously it's very similar to Stephen King, but we were
descriptive.
discussing him earlier. The difference between him and Stephen King is Dean Koontz is not spending a lot of time going into these characters' backstories and all that
Right,
stuff,
right.
Mhm.
which even though I normally enjoy a character's backstory, I don't enjoy 22 pages of, this guy's history growing up.
Yeah.
So,
Which, and correct me if I'm wrong, which a lot of these new...
You're wrong.
wrong.
Which a lot of these new series, they all take a lot of time to invest
Mhm.
our time into watching them, because a lot of them now do go into the character development of the main characters of the story.
Mhm. Yeah, and see, I'm good with that. I enjoy that. I enjoy, fleshing out a character pretty well, and learning what makes them, what made them,
Mhm.
or what made them,
Mhm.
what makes them. I enjoy that. I will agree. Stephen King, he can be a little long when it comes to that. He's a little long-winded when it comes to that. Very descriptive. I do enjoy that, but yeah, there are sometimes I'm just like, dude, come on.
Now, do you like the character descriptions in the beginning of a book or movie, because it kind of gives you a base of what to expect, or kind of a mindset of this is the kind of person they are?
I mean,
Does
if it's
that-
relevant
does
to the rest of the movie, then sure.
That's what I was going to say. Does that help you kind of feel that character throughout the movie or book?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, like when it comes to Batman movies, we all know why Batman is sad boy. Yeah,
Right.
oh, mommy,
We don't need
daddy
any
got
more origin
shot.
movies.
Okay, we don't have to. We don't
Sad
have to
boy.
rehash it every freaking movie. Like I could not tolerate watching the Batman ever again. Which Batman had a friggin' Ben Affleck in it? There's no
Oh,
way.
Dawn of Justice.
He was the whiniest of all the.
See, I enjoyed that.
You
I
are
enjoyed
50
that, though.
years old. Get the fuck over it. My God. Shut up, Ben Affleck. Shut up, Batman. Do your shit.
Batfleck.
Shut up.
Do your shtick, she says.
I just don't want to hear, okay, if you didn't know that, though, I mean, most people going to watch a Batman movie know what happened. Mommy,
Right.
daddy, okay, all
Well,
is good, but we don't have to rehash.
you assume they do. Let's just say that.
Okay, yeah, well,
Well, I did like when they did the new Spider-Man movie. They didn't go into that. They didn't go into Uncle Ben's death or anything like that. It was just Spider-Man was already Spider-Man,
mhm.
and he came in. I mean, we've had 5 movies prior to that, so surely we know why Spider-Man is Spider-Man and what kind of family dynamic he has.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you like the alternate universe kind of feel like they had to it, where they combine all the movies?
I did like what they did with No Way Home. I'm super stoked to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because the way they're tying it all in. I just really feel that they've got a real opportunity to just really crap on the whole thing. And what irritates me most about it is DC has fallen so far behind on this that they are now actually trying to catch up. And now with the Flash movie, they're actually introducing their own version of the multiverse. And it was fun and cool with the comic books because they were competing against each other. But now it just kind of seems like DC's ripping off Marvel of their ideas. And DC has a much better framework and much better source material that they don't have to do that, and they can kind of do their own thing. So to answer your question, yes, I do think it's kind of cool. I just wish that DC would straighten their act out over there. Whatever it is going on over there, get on board. And yes, I'm a Snyderverse guy, but that's already been crapped on and poo-pooed all over the place, So yeah, I do like the multiverse thing. It has the ability to bring on newer characters. So yeah,
I thought it was kind of neat, but it's getting a little too confusing for my wee brain again. There's just too much going on. But I liked that there's Spider-Mans together. Spider-Men,
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, the Spider Guys. So there was a scene talked about, we talked about earlier about emotional scenes and that. Yes, all comic book movies are fake. I get it. But there was a scene. Have you seen No Way Home yet?
No.
Okay. There's a scene in No Way Home that if you've seen The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home, dude, you're going to have a knot in your throat like you're not going to believe. There's a part in there that you want to talk about getting emotional. And I'm a movie crier. I'll admit it. I totally bawl at movies.
I'm a movie crier too, but not at Spider-Man movies.
Oh my gosh. You got to get invested in the story. But
I'm just there for the time.
I will sit here in front of God and everybody and admit the first time I saw Titanic, I cried. I did. I did.
God, we're here for you.
When Jack died?
Jack dies.
The boat sinks too,
You
folks.
spoiled it all.
The boat sinks.
But that bitch did not move off the door so he can get on it.
I mean, honestly, we've proven there's enough space. Cow.
Say, baby, move
Ow.
on over.
Now, say, baby, you got one from up there for
Her
me.
boob.
Say, baby, give me some dough.
No.
I need some dough.
Kind of chilly down here.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, man. What a great show tonight. I mean, that
I
was
enjoyed it. I had fun.
pretty good stuff. And once again, I want to thank Don Chincho's Mexican Restaurant for sponsoring the show for us. Check them out tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo. And if you're a margarita drinker, they got this thing. What's it called? The bongarita.
I think
Excuse me, the what?
just margarita bong.
Margarita bong. They
Yeah.
got a margarita bong. You got to
Tall
check it out.
Towers.
If you go in there, make sure you've got a designated driver. Yeah, check out the bong margarita, the margarita bong.
I've never.
It's huge. It's massive.
That's what she said.
Chuck's like the bong
again.
margarita, the margarita
bongarita?
bong.
The bongarita. Yeah, but no, check them out. We appreciate them sponsoring the show this month. And if you guys, if you're a business and you'd like to sponsor the show, let us know. We're happy to do that as well and talk with you about, what that runs. And, we'll put your logo up there in the corner, as you can see we did with Don Chencho. And, you guys have a safe May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And we are out of here for now. So you guys have a wonderful time, and thanks for joining us tonight.